All right, here's some video of 1962 CJ5. This is a project Jeep. I finished working on my 1971 CJ5 Renegade II version. Now I'm gonna start working on this 62. This is pretty much the way I received it about 6 years ago. Kind of the story behind it is the guy bought it. This comes from northern Colorado, Front Range, Loveland. He pulled it in his garage and tore it all down. Started working on it. Well, to make a long story short, after 5 years, he needed his garage space back. And so he's like, hey, you want to buy a Jeep cheap? So I said, sure. So basically it was a stalled project and he needed the garage space for a new boat. He had already done a lot of sheet metal work. He had a MIG welder. Looked like he was learning how to weld. Didn't have argon gas, flux core wire. It's not the greatest. I can redo it. That's what I like doing. He had bought he said he bought $3,000 worth of parts, which I believe. They were all brand new in the box. Brand new top, best top. Hardware, never been out. New wiring kit, all stainless hardware, totally stainless. Box full of packages of nuts and bolts for CJ5, totally stainless. I don't think I'll use those. Not even sure I'm going to use the wiring harness. It's pretty elaborate. Might just come up with my own. So, I know a lot of Jeep enthusiasts, they like to look at these old Jeeps, maybe get some ideas. This thing is not going to be stock. In other words, he's already made, or the previous owner had already made a lot of modifications. I don't think it was actually a rock crawler based off these Baja Claw 33 by 13 inch wheels. I think he was probably using it up at the sand dunes by Walden, North Park at Colorado. Inside, instead of the old Hurricane 4-cylinder, he's got a Dauntless V6 in it, 225 cubic inch, headers, the whole works. All of those holes I'll be patching and, just go back to stock or necessary holes. He had it sandblasted, never put epoxy on it other than the hood. It's got epoxy primer. There's dents here. These need to be fixed. I finished my 71 and I need a new project, so I've already spent about a couple of days just doing a little bit of primering. I brushed on a rust inhibitor remover. It had a little surface rust. This stuff right here works really good. I've used it quite a bit. Crud Cutter. Rust-Oleum owns this company. So this'll get rid of the rust, at least most of it, all that surface rust, and then it puts a coating on it. It's like a powdery coating if you Scotch Brite it, and supposedly it keeps it from rusting for a year. He had taken out this toolbox and put in new floor pans. Didn't really do the greatest job. No holes, no holes holding this body on. Matter of fact, when I picked it up, there was probably 2 or 3 bolts. I basically had to put a strap around it. I had a trailer that was loaded. Incidentally, on these toolboxes, on these CJs, I'll take this one out. And what I do is I prime and paint. And then underneath, and then, spot weld it in. So this will all get ground off and taken out. This still has some remnants of rust. So that's pretty much the story on it. Got a big old full cage roll bar here. That'll end up going in it. Tailgate's kind of rough, but I'm optimistic I can get this thing to look good. We'll see. He had done all this body work. I had took off the filler on this left rear quarter, and I could just to see what was underneath it. He had replaced part of the panel, and I mean, he had a 1/4 inch of filler on it. It looked pretty much like that. I don't know. I like the worksheet metal, so I think I'll redo it. He put in this angle iron. It's pretty light gauge, 14-16 along there. And I've already ground it down because the welds were just sloppy. So I'll probably end up leaving it and, you know, re-welding it or welding in some more and grinding her flat. Got holes to fill. So, like I said, it's a Colorado Jeep, so you don't have a whole lot of rust. I'll be filling these. This right rear quarter is going to need some more. So, I worked on the steering wheel. I had a little free time this winter. It's amazing how well that JB weld works on those cracks. They get the Dremel out with a diamond V and open up the crack a little, clean it out. And JB weld works pretty good. That's what I did on my other one. It hasn't cracked. Of course, you know, it's inside too, so maybe if it was out in the sun. A lot of modifications were done to this dash. Probably leave most of it. There was a vacuum gauge, oil, temp, amp, or volt, can't remember, but all the gauges are there. I'll fill in the radio hole. I just don't care for radios and Jeeps, so I'll fill that in. This looks like a homemade grab bar there. I'll take that off, fill those holes, probably get a stock one. It does have an ashtray. It's got a glove compartment. The cardboard's still in there, not in the greatest shape, but still intact. I've got 98% of the parts. So all the pans, all the parts, pretty much all the parts are here. Of course, some of the, you know, the plastic and things will need to be replaced. Can't refurbish them. So, as far as drivetrain, other than the V6, it's got that adapter to go to the T90. It's got the D18 twin stick. The front end, there's kind of a little bit of a story here. He's got shackles. I robbed the Procom 2.5-inch springs and put them on my 71. So these are the original springs off my 71 CJ, and so I've got new BDS springs for the 71, so the Procoms are going to come back onto it, and it'll have a 2.5-inch lift. There wasn't any shims underneath these spring packs, so who knows what the caster angle was. There was a bumper with a tow bar on it, so I don't like that steering with the two tie rods. I've got another set of axles with one-piece tie rod, which I'll end up putting on. Looks like a Dana 25. I had gone, when I got this 6 years ago, I worked on it for about a year, and I basically worked on the frame, and there was 3 or 4 cracks, fixed those. And then I put chassis coat on it. I'm gonna redo these frames. It's got a big hunk of 1/4-inch plate there for the frame horn. That's gonna get ground off. I'll probably box it in with 1/8 inch. I've done that before. So the rear end, it's 5/38 gear ratio, which would be stock. It looks like a Dana 44 with the older style hub. It's got side pipes for that V6. Well, I think I pretty much covered everything. So this is just, I mean, it's ugly looking, but that's a project for you. It'll all look nice. I'll probably do, well, I know I'll do a swing out tire, spare tire carrier on the back for these 33 by 13 Baja Classic, Mickey Thompson Baja Classics. So as far as tail lights, not sure what I'll do. You know, depends on the swing out tire carrier. I might bring them up a little, but this thing's not going to be stock. It's going to be a fun project. I've already done 2 stock Jeeps, so I need something with a little variety to it. Anyway, so that's my project. It's a fun one, like all Jeeps. Just takes time and money, and you can have these babies looking good. Maybe I'll splice in a picture of my 71 at the end that I just finished last year. So once again, 62 CJ5. Oh, here's something I should point out. The dash, you notice there's no bolts on there holding the dash on. There's just skip welds, spot welds, or skip weld in certain areas. Apparently they came from these 62s, I'm not sure with any other years. If they were going to have a hardtop on them, they welded in the dash for, you know, some structure strength, and so they don't have provisions for bolting that on. They've got the little tabs behind it, but there's no nut zerks or anything in there to screw the, you know, the thread the bolts into. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting on the dash. Oh well, there she is. Okay.